It's a lovely day, nice and sunny for a stroll. Guess where I am yet? That'll give it away. I'm at Boddington. Unbelievable. Look how low it is. Wow. And I am, well, there's the, where is it? Somewhere there. It's peg 0, peg 1. So the 80s and 90s just there. Normally where there's a bit of water. So it obviously goes up in a bit of a hill here. It's very windy. But yeah, let's have a walk around Boddington and I'll show you all the pegs and I'll show you how it looks like when there's no water in the place. Hope you enjoy it. So let's have a little wander back all through all these weeds. Amazing how many rocks and boulders are further out. They're not just on the slopes. There's definitely a lot more further out into what would be the lake or the reservoir. And let's walk up this. I think this is peg 6. But yeah, you can see there's a flight of steps. Then there's a big slab and a flight of steps. And there's 4 big slabs and 4 flights of steps. So most people won't have seen it this low. So it's surprising how far down those steps actually go. Now if you've ever parked on the dam wall, I'm sure most of you have had a look over the bridge at the stream behind. Well, it's absolutely empty now. So let's walk over the road, have a look down the bridge. There's normally carp down there. You could normally see them in the morning. Obviously you won't see them today unless they're grass carp. And that just in front of you is the disabled peg. Or peg 0. Well, this was in June last year, and this is down the stream. It's normally full of carp. I think they go in there to spawn as well, but it's normally full of great big carp. Interesting to see how it is now. And look where I am now. This is actually where you'd be casting if you was on peg 1. So I'm stood where you'd be casting. I don't know how long it's going to take for all these weeds to die back when it finally does fill up in the winter. I'm sure it will be full up by the winter. As you can see, there's 2 little veins of water still flowing into the reservoir from the stream, or what was the stream, and it is coming through. It's coming through. Surprising how deep these 2 little streams are. So there'll be a definite feature when it does fill back up. Maybe they'll be full of bloodworm. Maybe they'll just fill up with silt. Who knows? But they've got to be some sort of attractive feature for the fish once it does fill back up. I think most of the tackle that has been revealed by the drought has already been taken by people. Probably rods and reels and all sorts been dragged in. But here's a nice big method feeder, and that's definitely been chucked a long way from the 70s. Well, it's definitely at its narrowest in front of the 70s and 80s, and it widens up in front of the 50s and 60s. I didn't see a lot of fish on my travels, but I did hear. There was 2 bays, and that's where all the fish seemed to be. Now in a match you wouldn't normally want to be in front of these pegs, but look, there's plenty of carp moving. And yeah, they just seem very happy in this bay at the moment. Probably getting away from the match anglers, because the match anglers were from about peg 80 to 100. What have we got here? Someone's lost their Reebok. I don't know what it's doing all the way out here. But if you fish a foot over depth, you might catch that. One big one. 1, 2, 3. Big one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Big one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Big one. And then this nice area here. Let's see. All the way down. All the way down. It's surprising just how steep those steps are. And this is the reservoir back in June again. Walking to our pace, you can just see there's only a couple of the big slabs showing. That's the usual stamp of the massive fish in this reservoir. And you can see where people would normally be sat. Normally just a couple of slabs down. Now look at it. And this is a view from peg 58. As we look up towards the 60s and 70s. And then we finally get to the matchmen. And they're fishing from the 80s all the way up to about peg 100. Now the last of the concrete platforms is peg 92, and once you get past that it's all natural bank, so they naturally get in the water on those pegs anyway, even when it's summer levels or winter levels. And there's interestingly some sort of natural spring or some sort of well that seems to be running in. I've not noticed that before. I'm sure a lot of people knew it was there. But yeah, you might notice there's a few lines of rocks where it looks like the match anglers have actually made stepping stones out to their pegs. So yeah, you might find little lines of boulders now moving forward where people have made little jetties to their pegs to stop them getting their feet too wet. As you move up to the hundreds, it's just amazing how many individual boulders and rocks there are just randomly scattered all over the bottom. So it's so easy to lose fish at this place and get cracked off or snapped off, and there's so many boulders and obstructions all the way out into the middle of the lake. It's no wonder you are going to lose the occasional rig or the occasional fish, especially when there's sunken obstructions like that in front of you. Again, this is just a flip back to normal levels over a year ago. Another nice carp on the rod. And yeah, now it's really low. It's revealing things like this. Now I think this is a fish refuge. I might be wrong. I'm not sure what other purpose this cage would serve. This is looking back again, and you can just about see it at normal levels, just in the foreground there. You can just see the corner of it. I'm assuming that's the same structure. I don't know if it's been pulled up further up the bank out the way. I'm not sure. Well, this is the overflow sluice. I'm not sure what its correct term is, but plenty of it showing, and there's a big rusty sort of trough exposed by the drought as well. As we traverse the rocks, surprisingly not loads of litter, nowhere near as much litter as when I walked around Clattergut Reservoir, but there is an odd sock and bits and bobs. Looks like they've done a decent job of clearing a lot of the litter away anyway. So there we are up the top, looking down the reservoir. Let's have a walk around the sailing club pegs. Very, very high up now. You can see all the sailing club pegs are totally exposed. And this is a view from peg 6. Some nice looking mushrooms or fungi or something like that. And yeah, you can just see the anglers in the background there. Plenty of cormorants on the reservoir as you'd expect. And deep marshland. Don't think it is at the moment. This is another flashback to a match when they were sat on the top of the path on the sailing club. Another nice carp. And I'm stood where he was catching. I'm pretty sure that's where he caught quite a few of his fish, down this side. Just alongside this tree line here. You can just about see the sailing club in the background now, one of the jetties. There's a few swan mussels, but not loads. I expected to see a few more swan mussel shells than what I did. Another tyre. Makes you wonder where they come from. And this is the little bridge or a little sluice going in and running in. There's just a trickle going into the reservoir. I did see 2 pike striking in these shallows, but unfortunately couldn't get it on film. And here we are, this is the sailing club. I'm not sure if the boats are actually allowed out when it's this low. I'm assuming not. There's the anglers in the background. Always good pegs if you draw in front of the sailing club. This is what it should look like when it's full. Boats galore when they come out. It seems to wake the fish up as well, so it's never a problem when the boats come out because it does wake the fish up. These are the only 2 casualties I saw as I walked around. 1 dead cormorant and 1 dead carp. And there we are. Everyone says I've got a screw loose, but don't worry, I found it. Well, we're the other side of the jetty now, and as you can see, there is some carp activity. I didn't see any carp down the margins until I got to here. But yeah, if I was a carp, this is where I'd be as well. Trying to get away from everyone. A natural fish sanctuary. And the geese and the gulls and everything seem to love it around this side as well. And the cormorants. All dry and cracked here. I assume it'll soften right up once it's full of water. And yeah, there's some definite sort of open patches where there's no weeds. And I'm sure there'll be decent hot spots when it does fill back up. But this bit's obviously raised higher than the surrounding reservoir. So we've done a nice lap of the reservoir now. And back to where we started. I thought I'd show you a photograph of every single peg, from the disabled peg right up to peg 92, and then the 12 sailing club pegs. I'll quickly flash through these, and maybe if you draw it in a match you can actually fast forward and rewind through the footage and find your peg and see what the bottom's like in front of where your platform is. Hopefully by then it'll be full of water again and you'll be catching lots of fish.